Well, hopefully one of them.
You're about to time that thing.
I talked to him.
No, we'll call in Justin. Like, I know you're sitting on the beach right now.
That's true.
Maybe, oh yeah, you just need to say aye.
Say aye, it's fine.
You just said aye.
Carol, Kyle said you guys had a meeting.
What?
Kyle said you guys had a meeting for him. That's fascinating.
Oh, yes, we did. No, I'm beginning to think for someone who's retired, I'm here.
It's true.
You know, but that makes sense though, for somebody who's not retired, I feel like I'm here a lot.
And we aren't mad about that. We're very thankful, actually. Aren't you a sweetheart? Oh, stop, making me blush.
She
Gets that from her mom.
Well, I had
No,
to
I
ask
asked
her
her
if that was her mom, she was eating the apple. Because I was thinking, you know, she'd been sick and
Germ
she's eating
sharing.
apples from strangers. I could help her with that.
I do.
I can only imagine like eating an apple and strangers can share water levels all the time.
I know, I do. Oh, yeah. We made it off the paper. Here comes Eric.
Oh, Eric's here.
Oh, Eric's here, we're good.
Who's over here?
Yeah, we just, well, for personnel, we just need 5. The manager is so.
We can have a meeting.
Oh, good.
Okay. No, you're good.
Get the JV team. No. All right, you ready? Let's begin. 6 o'clock, sharp. Nice. I will take a motion to approve. or adopt the agenda.
I will move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Approval of minutes from September 10th.
I have a motion to approve minutes as presented.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Community dialogue. Anyone? 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 No. Okay, great. Then let's hear a report from Junior Bulldogs.
Sometimes that's all you need.
I'm only like a weekend.
Okay, sorry. So I'm Janet Gaylor from Junior Bulldogs and the Vice President,
I'm Brian Suchek, I'm the sports director.
and we've been really busy since we last, presented. There we go. So our purpose is to promote community, team, and school spirit through sports from kindergarten through 6th. We've been doing a lot to support that. We are organizing youth sports with Really Rec and putting teams together and organizing players and coaches for sports. These are some pictures from some of our summer activities. This is our board. Since we last presented, our newly elected positions is the public relations head, which is April Albrecht, and then Brian Suchek was just voted into the sports coordinator, and his main job is to help us coordinate with our teams and coaches with Relief Rec. So that's a really big job that is really important. But we need someone more. And then our sports leads for each sport that we have so far. Our sports leads communicate and coordinate with the high school coaches to plan our camps. And then they also help organize teams and communicate with Brian and Al to get our teams put together with Greeley Rec. Our newest venture is basketball, or our next team that we're putting together is basketball. So these are all the events that we had over the summer, or since we last presented to you guys. We had a track and field camp this summer that had 43 students participate, and then the track and field program received $1,025 from that. So the way our camps are ran, the high school coaches run those and the students run those. For our junior Bulldogs, the team gets 70% and junior Bulldogs gets 30%. We pretty much broke even on all of these because we provided snacks and drinks for students because we found they really needed those when they were here for those camps. So we went and bought those. So we pretty much broke even as junior Bulldogs, which is fine. We don't do it for a profit, but and then we had a lot of questions about the pricing and why different teams earned different amounts, and the high school coaches set those amounts. So they decide how much they want to charge for their camp. And then for all of these, we provided a t-shirt, so the t-shirt cost came out of that, and then the rest was split 70-30 between that. So those were some of the questions that we had so far. Our Palms camp had 56 students, and they earned about 1,600. Volleyball had 85 students, that was our biggest camp, and they earned almost 1,800. And then our flag football camp had 74 students, that was girls and boys flag football. And they earned a little over 1,000. We also donated $250 towards the teacher and staff dinners at Bulldog Bash Night. And then we did a $500 donation to the Bulldog 5K that we did over homecoming that Mr. Betts did. And we also sponsored 2 of our running and walking students, so they didn't have to pay that entry fee, and 2 of them participated in that 5K. Upcoming next weekend, actually, we have our soccer camp. And then the Monday after that, we have our girls basketball camp. The boys basketball coach wanted our camp for boys to be either during their season or much closer to their season. So that's in the works. And then our treasurer's report, as of right now, we have $8,085 we can work with. We will have had 3 Junior Bulldogs nights. We had a baseball night in the spring where we had Junior Bulldogs come out and they got a sticker and then they were just cheering on our baseball team. We had a volleyball night just a few weeks ago, and some of these pictures are from there. This is our favorite Junior Bulldog that shows up to everything with us, so thank you, David. And then we will have we'll have a football Junior Bulldog night on October 24th. Our Junior Bulldogs can come and get in free and help cheer on our football team. We're also participating in our trunk or treat, and we will have a truck. And our truck will obviously be sports themed. And then November 10th, we're going to have a Red Robin fundraiser. We will receive 20% of the proceeds for the whole day, not just like dinner time. It'll be the whole day, and that's a Monday that we're off, so it'll be Red Robin if you would like. Our goal is to buy new soccer balls for the elementary playground. Our elementary students actually approached us and asked us if we could help get soccer balls for them. They did have soccer balls, but they were very cheap and kind of broke very easily, and so now they just have cones, and they were advocating for themselves and really want sturdier soccer balls and much bigger soccer balls The soccer goals I had were like this wide, and if somebody stood in it, then nobody could ever score a goal, and that was an issue they had on the playground. So that's our goal. The big sturdy ones are very, very pricey, so we're hoping that that fundraiser will help. And then we also signed up today for a Shields. What's it called?
Grant.
It is kind of, we did apply for a Shields grant and we got denied for that. But this is a,
Try clicking
I
on
know,
Facebook.
it's a nominate your favorite nonprofit, and so we can get up to $5,000, I think. So, on our Junior Bulldogs website or Facebook page, if you could go nominate us, we would possibly get a grant, and then that could also go towards our soccer goals. Allison Reese did write a grant, and it did get denied, so we don't have those soccer goals yet. And then we also plan on providing lunch for all staff. It's about 200 staff members on our January conference day. This last conference day, USPTO provided lunch for us. So Junior Bulldogs is going to do the next conference day. And then we just wanted to show you all of our amazing Junior Bulldogs. They came to all of our camps. We had our track and field and our POMs. This was our flag football, volleyball. It was a really fun summer. I love the smiles. And I love seeing all of their camp shirts around school. And then, we'll talk about teams. I don't want to put you on the spot. You have no idea who's doing this.
I don't really know. I started putting together, contacting the coaches for each of the different rec sports seasons, verifying that they still actually want to coach, and then working with Zach Kilman at the rec center to create teams for them. The process is that a coach gets a code, and then the coach can send that code to players before general registration starts. And so we give that code to the coach, and they can sign up their kids' friends. But then we can also post it on Facebook for kids that are in kindergarten or first grade or whatever the year is, so that Bulldog kids can be on teams with other Bulldog kids. So that's kind of the goal.
And these are just some of the teams that we did create over the summer. This was a Bulldog team over the summer, and this was our most current flag football team. This wasn't technically a Bulldog team, but the majority of the students were Bulldogs, so we call them our Bulldogs. This was a Bulldog baseball team over the summer that Kate Johnson, she is our secretary, she helped coach. And then Mauricio Munoz, he is our soccer lead. He coaches several teams for soccer, and he took a picture of some of his girls playing, but he has some soccer teams that he coaches. So those are some of our teams that we've put together so far. And then our newest and biggest venture is wrestling. When Junior Bulldogs was a thing many years ago, this was a really big part of Junior Bulldogs, and that kind of fell apart. And we had a lot of people really asking us to put that back together, and so our biggest challenge to date is finding coaches for anything that we're doing, for camps, for teams, for anything. So getting those volunteers, we had a coaches meeting, and we had about 10 people interested. So that's the best interest that we've had and the most support we've had. So we are going to go ahead and do our wrestling program again. It's been a beginner club in the past, and it's open to all ages, grades, boys and girls. Our goal is to build self-confidence, mental toughness, sportsmanship, teamwork, and discipline. Our season will start in November and go through April. Tournaments will be February through April, but participation is not required. They said some kids just aren't ready to participate in a tournament or don't want to participate in a tournament yet, and that's okay. They can just be a part of the club and just come to practice and just learn. So that's okay. That's totally optional for them. Our wrestling lead is Jackie Kilburn. She will be overall in charge of it. And then we did find a head coach. His name is Brendan Gonzalez, and he has had several years of experience and will be a really great addition. He is not part of our Bulldog community, and his kids have wrestled with the Bulldogs years ago. So, and then we have an upcoming meeting on October 20th, and we're hoping to start as soon as November for our wrestling program. So we'll get information out as soon as we have our coaches meeting. Our wrestling meeting is the 20th, and then our next meeting is October 27th at 7 in the patio. We meet monthly, the last Monday of every month, and we want to have any and all who come support us, or come to any of our events. Questions about anything?
I'll be on your soccer goals.
Thank you so much.
Did you hear anything from Kate about opening up the shop that she's going to
We are working on, so we've had some success, maybe some not so great success with t-shirts and finding a company. We were working with a company in Loveland. There was a lot of issues with communication and just getting our shirts on time for those camps. And so then we tried to go to Garrettson's and work with them, and I don't think they want to keep the shop open all the time for us, and so then Kate was going to find a t-shirt company, and so we're still in the works for that, but we don't have a Junior Bulldogs t-shirt yet to wear to events and things. Then that will be coming out. It'll either be through Garrettson's or another company that we can keep like a store open. It's really great to see those t-shirts also on kids in the hallways or at any of our events or camps that they come to. So we will give more information on that when we get like an actual. Kate was just looking into some more options for t-shirt companies. So questions?
You guys are taking it.
Russian.
Impressive. Thanks. Okay, staff reports. Principals,
We're just upstairs.
All right, I'm gonna have Ryan go first and talk about how things are going with athletics and activities and some changes on the horizon there, and then go first.
Good evening. Yes. I gotta read my notes out. Forgive me. Fall is the craziest, busiest season for extracurriculars. And my numbers are kind of off, but they're close. Our high school October count, I was told, or right now, is 647 students. We currently have 307 involved in extracurriculars, and that's athletics, activities, almost half. And that's amazing. Just put that in perspective, like if we're a school of 650, you have Greeley West, I don't know if it's 1,200, 1,300 something, and that's about the number they have too. So our students are really involved, really doing a lot of good, great things. That's keeping us busy, but it's pretty awesome too, that we have many kids involved.
And that doesn't, because it's not sports and activities,
Yes.
like that's just.
That's just extracurricular, and kind of what I have my umbrella is over. So it's pretty much and I'll go through all the ones that I have numbered. It's not including, like the drama, the play we had there, so those type of individuals. But, like this number includes, we have boys that are playing soccer at area schools at all that. We have some at Northridge, we have some at Frontier. I think we have one at Greeley Central also. We have boys playing golf. Most of those are at Greeley West. We have a couple at Frontier. Those are the two sports going on that our students can participate at. We don't offer. So like at University right now, marching band. Our marching band is they're really professional. They placed in two of their events in the top three. They finished second at one, third at the other. This coming Monday night, they go over to Centaurus High School in Lafayette, it's their state qualifying in. And they feel really confident. We're not going to jinx them or be overconfident, but they feel really confident they will qualify and hopefully be in that trophy conversation for the state competition. Their state competition is October 27th over in Grand Junction. So it's a big haul, taking our marching band all the way over to Grand Junction. We looked in, chartering 2 buses. It would take 2 buses for all their equipment, and it was an outrageous amount. But luckily, we have a principal who's willing to possibly drive a bus over there. One of our bus drivers, his kids actually go to Union Colony, but are in our marching band. So we're going to be able to get the kids over there, take the time, not be in any hurry. They'll go over on Sunday. Again, I don't want to jinx them, but we plan on going over Sunday. They'll perform Monday, They perform in the morning if they make, or afternoon if they make it to the finals, and they perform again at night. And they really don't find out their results till about 9 o'clock that night. So they would stay that night again, and they would drive home on. That's kind of what made the charter bus getting really expensive. There were 2 nights, and pretty much 3 days, 2 nights. So really, again, if I know they played parts of their shows at our football game, but they sound awesome, and they sound great, and they're really fun to work with. So that's what marching band going on. Right now, kind of they're a fall sport, but their main sport's in the winter. Cheer and dance, getting close to their competition season. Our dance team's defending state champions. Our cheer is just this close to making finals every single year. So they're getting close to getting going. Esports. I pulled for Mr. Jared Butler. We had a Booster Club meeting on Monday, and he was waiting out for conferences. I pulled him into the Booster Club. So okay, brag about esports a little bit. It's a program that was in the making for a lot of years. COVID came around and it kind of set us back a couple years on that. But our tech people, Jeff and Jeff, have been awesome helping us out with that. Jeffrey's even kind of one of our assistant coaches, because if you're going to do esports, it's not in person. It's not like this. Last week they competed against a team in New Mexico. You have to have a tech person there. If it goes down, then I don't know what to do. So our esports are doing a great job, and it's a clientele of students too who it gravitates to something for them to do. They're trying to do a fundraiser, selling their t-shirts or their jersey. It's like a bulldog head as a controller or something. So they're really doing good. Really excited about that. And then we have speech and debate. We'll be starting up pretty soon. Talking to Mr. Uribe, they're expecting close to 40 participants in speech and debate. That's not counted in this 307 number I gave you. So it is partially, but that program is just growing like crazy. He does a great job with it. So is Ms. Bjornsson. She's helping with it. Yeah, they do a nice job with that. So those competitions will really get going in November and December after that. Right now, sports teams we have going on right now. Softball. This is their last week of their regular season. They're ranked number 2 in the state right now. Even though they beat Eaton earlier in the week, it's a whole mathematical formula, so we're still ranked number 2. But we'll be hosting a tournament, regional tournament, October 11th. The weekend after that is their state tournament. Again, don't want to jinx them or anything, but they're playing really well. A real fun group of girls to be around. They had their senior night the other night, which it was really cool. They had the dads pitch to their daughters, and they got to catch them and stuff, and it was a real cool family atmosphere they had. So softball's doing really well. Cross country, our cross country team, that's cross country runners. They're in a challenging position that they have to compete at the 4A level. So it's just how our numbers worked out. I'll talk about some of these changes later, but they work really hard, and they run and they do their best, and they compete against some really tough competition. But I'm really excited about what they've been doing, how they've been performing their meets. Their state qualifying is October 23rd at Montfort Park. Their state meet is November 1st in Colorado Springs. The main thing I want to brag about is cross country is, I don't know, something I know we're at. We had a cross country meet early at the year. At the beginning of the year, it was a small meet. 5 or 6 schools were there. But the coolest thing about cross country, if you've never been to a meet, is it's so pure. Everybody cheers for everybody. Whether you're the first runner, whether you're the last runner, yeah, the runners are competitive. You want to catch that runner in front of them. You want to beat them. But at the end of the day, kids from other schools are pulling for kids that they're running against. The boys get done, they cheer for the girls. The girls cheer for the kids. Parents are like excited, yelling and screaming for just not the first kid, but the last kid. It's one of the most pure competitions you can be around. There's no yelling at officials. There's no complaining about playing time. There's none of that. So it was really cool to see at our cross country meet. So if you ever have a chance to get to a cross country, go. They're really fun. So that's going on for cross country. Boys tennis today started their regional competition. Again, boys tennis is kind of like cross country. You have to compete against a higher level things. But we have one boy. We have Kendall Nolly. Nolly is competing. He's in the championship for number 3 singles. They kind of split different spots. Our number 1 singles has a chance to play back. It's one of those sports that the person who beats you in the semis loses in the finals or wins in the finals, you get a challenge their competitor. So we have that with number 1 singles and number 3 singles. It is also one of the most pure sports if you've never been. There's no officials. There's no coaching really can't go on. We had against Wellington a couple weeks ago, we had a match where the boys couldn't figure out the score. The two boys at doubles, they had to come together and they have to talk to each other. They have to go back and try to remember points here, here, here to figure out the score. Coaches can't get involved. Parents can't be up there yelling, scoreboard's wrong, you know, you can't, there's none of that. It was on these four boys to figure it out, and they did. And that shows, again, you have to call your own in, your own out. It's one of the most purest sports that teaches dignity, honesty, trust, that they don't get a lot of recognition because a lot of people don't play tennis. But it would be really cool to see, and it's one of those things I wish more of our kids could experience and see. So that's going on in tennis. Football. Football's down to their final 4 games. They got a 3-2 record. They're sitting 9th as far as the whole computer mathematical formula to make the playoffs. We figured if we can go 2-2 the last 4 games, we will make the playoffs. But not that we're settling to go 2-2. We'd love to go 4-4. But the boys have come around, a rough start. I'm sure you all heard, but they've really been resilient and are coming together as a neat group. So again, their state class would start November 8th. We have a game Friday, a really big game against Wellington. They're a really good team. So don't judge us on the game against Wellington. It's just one of those good speaking skip here there. So that's going on. Volleyball, again, volleyball's competing because they're numbered at the 4A level. They're a top 10 team, however, so we should be hosting a regional. That doesn't really start until 3 weeks from now. Their regional tournament is November 7th and 8th, so we should host that. State tournament is November 14th, 15th, and November 13th, 14th, and 15th in Denver. With volleyball this year, we've had so many girls out, we went for 4 levels. The coaches came and said, we have girls out, we don't want to cut. All right, well, let's keep them. So we've played 4 levels of certain matches. We've taken our gym and turned it sideways and played 2 courts at one time. It's chaotic in there, but it works. It's great for the girls. Parents, grandparents have been very complimentary. Hey, thanks for giving these girls an extra opportunity to play. The hardest part, though, is once we get done, we have to then rearrange the gym. So instead of course going this way, going that way, and you always have grandparents who won't get out of the bleachers. And I need them to get out so I can pull them the rest of the way out. But if that's our biggest obstacle, that's okay. That's okay. So that's mainly all the sports going on. F2's going on right now. One thing going, I shared this at a meeting we had on Friday. I shared it with Booster Club. I talked about all of our upper levels. Some of our best moments this year have been at our lower levels. Our C team, our JV kids, and you kind of forget about them because you're so focused on, our softball team's ranked 2nd, our volleyball team's ranked in the top 10. Well, I was at a softball game where there was a C team softball game watching. There's this girl who, ground ball was hit to her. Poor girl, she was trying, but it was like, it wasn't happening, She finally gets up the bat, she gets a hit, and it's a legit hit. It's a hit to outfield. She's running, she gets on first base, she starts jumping up and down, her teammates are cheering for her, parents are going crazy. I'm like, that's what it's about right there. It was so awesome, so cool to see the C team girl who really struggled through the game, but got that one hit. The other thing was we had a tennis match. We had a JV player playing, and JV just played 1 set. That's all they played. First one to win that set wins. Well, they had a tie, so they went into overtime. And their overtime was like first person to 7 points wins. So it's tough. It's going back and forth. Again, our whole team, our coach is great. We had our team stay there because in tennis you play varsity, then you play the JV game. Made everybody stay. The parents are still there. Well, our kid wins that point, and he starts jumping up and down. He just won the state championship. Kids are going crazy, cheering. That was awesome. That again, those are the things that we don't see. We focus so much on the varsity level, but we have lower level JV, C team kids that are doing wonderful things, and that's their state championship. So those are really, really, cool to see. I can't stress it enough how awesome that was. The last part of that was Monday night. We had a JV football game against Eaton, and our JV cheerleaders were there. And they're cheering and doing cheers, and we have some pretty vocal, loud JV football fans. These parents, though, were getting into it with the following the cheerleaders. And the cheerleaders, they're yelling, screaming back. It's probably the most interaction we've had between cheerleaders and a crowd in a long time. And so the cheerleaders, they're like, hey, thanks for making that special for us. And the parents like, hey, glad to do it. So again, that interaction, it's really cool to see that at the lower levels. So that's a lot of what's going on with our sports. Some changes coming. I know, I'm sure, Ms. Casey shared it with you, or Mrs. Weaver. There was this multiplier that I talked about. A lot of classifications are based on enrollment numbers. A multiplier for private and charter schools. because we don't really have boundaries, and we can control our enrollment in the sense of capping it. We don't have to take, well, I shouldn't say we don't have to take, you know, you have that population that comes to your school that maybe they don't do anything, they're not able to do athletics, but they count against your enrollment. We maybe don't have the services to take care of certain groups of students, so they don't choose university. There's a big, long discussion, well, ultimately charter schools got thrown out, which was great for us. But, so we don't have to worry about that multiplier. But what CHASA is really trying to do is, a lot of your classifications, we have all over the place. And different sports have different enrollment break numbers. They're trying, with the exception of football and basketball, to have every sport have the same break numbers. So all of our sports would be classified as 3A. So it's classification from 300 schools to about 750, which is a big break, but it's good for us. It keeps us consistent. Cross country can go back down to being a 3A cross country team. The teams we compete against in wrestling for state will be the same ones we compete against in baseball and in softball and volleyball. So that's going to have some consistency, so that will really help out. With that, our league was looking to kind of break up because we have so many different classification schools. With that, that really helps keeping our league together. It will still be a bigger league. We could possibly have 17 schools in our league, but we're looking to have almost be like 2 leagues within one, mainly based on geography, help them travel, and all this kind of stuff. So that's kind of some of the changes coming that way that affects us, but doesn't really affect us. It's just that we have to follow based on being a member of the Patriot League and a member of the Colorado Sports Association. And 2 last things. Again, with all of our kids being participating in other sports, we'll be sending out a questionnaire. I first got to get it approved by Mr. Casey first. But we have a lot of kids that do sports at other schools. Golf for one, we have more university kids on Greeley teams, and Greeley has it actually, their students. So we're going to be sending out a questionnaire. Is our students, boys and girls, if we were offered golf here, would they be interested in playing golf? And hopefully those numbers will stay. Boys right now, boys golf, other AD at Greeley schools asked me, if you do start golf, we're probably going to not have a team at Central, West, and Northridge anymore. We'll just have one Greeley team. Because that's how much of the teams are made up by university kids. Girls golf. Greeley only has one girls golf team, and everybody plays through Northridge. This last spring, 4 of their top 5 players were university girls. And so some of those like, that's what's happening, they need to wear a university. So we're going to send a questionnaire out. How many boys and girls would be interested in playing golf if we were to offer it at the university? This would be starting next year, the 2026 spring. The other sport is soccer. How many boys and girls would be interested in playing soccer if we were to offer it? Right now, on average, we're having almost 20 girls play soccer at Frontier and Northridge. The boys' number isn't that big, it's really fluctuating. This year, we only have about 8 boys playing soccer, but there's been years where there's been 20. We have a football team of almost 80 kids out. We probably afford to lose 10 of them to soccer and be okay. So we're sending those questionnaires out. The other sport to also add to that is it's a big popular sport, it's girls flag football. And so we're going to send it out and see that's played in the fall, see what response we get from that. Obviously, once the response comes back, there's a financial obligation to each of these sports. What does that look like? There's facilities. What does that look like? Not just the facilities we play on, but the external ones, locker rooms, practice spaces, stuff like that. So it wouldn't be just like, oh, we have tons of kids that want to play boys soccer. Okay, that's one, that's great, but we already have football, marching band, middle school football. The cost of that, what do we have to look at? So we'll be sending a questionnaire out and coming back and again with Mr. Casey and Mrs. Weaver, a lot of just input and even Sue from a business standpoint. What can we afford? And then I think the last sport we added was softball. We didn't have to come back to the board and ask the board for your approval to add those major sports besides like a league sport to add softball. So that's what we're looking at. So we have kids that want to be involved, so if we can offer them, let's try it. I don't need to take up so much time, it wasn't too much. Thank you for listening to me. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? No, please.
When do you think is the CHASA change, like 3A, going to start next year?
It'll all start next year. It'll be, because everything's 2-year cycle, so we're on the 2nd year of the cycle, so it'll be the 2026 through 28 cycle. So the preliminary numbers came out. They're supposed to have it all hopefully final by November, December, then we will vote on it at legislative council in January. That's what it is. Put us in a bind for a couple of years. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Ryan took a lot of the fun stuff to talk about, for sure. One of the things that, and you sent this link out to them already, the Ames. So Ames puts together this profile of each school that they work with.
In your packets.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good stuff on here, just about how many of our kids are engaging in college classes and how they're doing in those classes and how many credits they're earning and how much money they're saving for their families. And that's not even counting amortization of student loans. So that's a really cool sort of way for us to advertise that. And then I wanted to add some things to it also, because obviously this is by Ames, this is their connection with us. We do have one kid this year also taking a class at UNC, and we have those occasionally. It's obviously not quite as convenient as being over at Ames. But we also 11 AP classes we're offering. They list on here pathways on this side. Those are in the Ames one. But we offer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 different graduation pathways. And our graduation rate has been 99% to 100% as long as we've had an occasional student who doesn't graduate. And one of them that didn't graduate this last year, I'm still working with them to try to get him through a gap and get that taken care of. That doesn't mean all of our students graduate from here, but everybody that starts with us as a freshman, with very few exceptions, gets a diploma for their 4 or 5 years. So, one of the things I'm really excited about high school this year is we've started with our departments, PLC groups that meet each week during the day. Each one has a different goal they're working on. It's all related to data and student instruction. So world language, PE, and science have all been doing standards reviews to make sure that their curriculum and their courses are all aligned. Math is implementing their new curriculum this year. CTE I'll get to in a minute because is that a separate agenda item or graduation? Okay, we'll get to that one later. Social studies is working on teaching and assessing critical thinking skills. Language arts is building inquiry journals and working on ways to improve writing scores. And the arts, developing career pathway awareness. So making sure kids are aware of careers in the arts that are possible for them. So that's been a really exciting thing to be a part of. My wife Joy, if you haven't met her, is amazing. She has half of the PLCs and I have the other half, and we're kind of facilitating those each week. And it's been some really good progress in groups of teachers developing kind of the things that they're working on. And other than that, we just have great groups of kids and teachers that I get to spend every day with. So, any questions you guys have? Okay, and I'll get to the grad requirements stuff with CTE when we get to that.
All right, superintendent's update.
So I will just add on a couple things, and then I do have a report from Mr. Aragon. Mr. Schuyler, you're welcome if you want to give it. So I wanted to update you a little bit on cafeteria and kitchen updates. So the combi ovens and the Polar King are both here and both working. The Polar King you might see if you're on the front of the building walking in. That's replacing all of our refrigeration, freezer, and dry storage space that are currently in the kitchen. That's how we were able to modify the kitchen without having to do an expansion of the kitchen, which we do not have room or money to afford. So between that and the combi ovens replaced an entire other wall of equipment. They consolidated probably 5 pieces of equipment, got consolidated in those combi ovens. So of the 4 walls in the kitchen, we removed all the things from 2 of them. So we gave them a ton more workspace, which was a top priority for them. Those are huge upgrades. Those 2 items together were a significant investment. So glad that they're here and working. We also just showed up, I think yesterday, a new vending machine, but it's not snacks. The lunchroom will use them to distribute both breakfast in the morning and lunch. It's just another satellite space for kiddos because in the cafeteria during lunch is really crowded. So it'll be another spot that they go, and keeps things cool and warmed, and they use District 6 as our nutrition service provider, and they currently are using those as main distribution sites at, I think it's West and Central. And so they have them all over, spread out throughout the building. So most of the kids don't purchase breakfast or lunch in the cafeteria space, they're all purchased in those spaces that are close to the kids. So we just got it.
Now, where's this one gonna go?
Well, so it's in a place, but it's big. It's one of those things that on CAD drawing looks like it fits great, but once it showed up, it's really big. So it currently is at the end of the hallway. You can see it in the mail if you want. I'm not sure it's gonna stay there, because it really does. If you're coming from the math hallway, trying to go to the art hallway, it makes for a little bit of a blind turn. So we'll see. But that is not operating yet. That just showed up yesterday. So there's some work we've got to do to get it installed. But then Kirsten has plans to get it going right away. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, District 6 says it's really popular at their 2 of their other high schools. So we'll see how that goes. And then we have been trying to work on flooring options. We had a little bit of a snag there. As you know, we're trying really hard to find something that is durable enough and clean enough to work as a cafeteria, but also provides a really usable surface, especially for a cheer and dance team to have another place to practice. So we visited 2 schools and saw 2 different options, and we're kind of weighing through the best choices for that. Both of them are super cool options. One is vinyl that looks very much like a gym floor. A lot of people are replacing their gym floors with it because it's a lot more durable, and has built-in underlayment as a part of it. So it provides some extra joint cushioning for our athletes and can help reduce some injuries there. The other option has the same pad, but it's got an upward seamless surface, which is nice from a cafeteria standpoint. So we're working through that, but we have found some really creative solutions. Because at first it was like, well, you can have concrete, you can have tile, or you can have none of those were the right solution for such a multi-purpose space. So we've been working hard on that, and are close to deciding. The other thing that we've been exploring that is related to the cafeteria, mostly because it takes the space, but a totally separate new problem is dismissal. So our cafeteria, as you know, is going right where elementary students primarily dismiss from. So that was sort of the impetus to have to come up with a plan B. But the options that we've been seeing provide some really great advantage. So they're all computer-based programs that integrate with our student information system, and then provide us to have parents check in a variety of ways. The one we looked at today is really cool. They have a QR scanning option. They also have a license plate reading option. So as soon as you enter into the parking lot, your kid will get entered in the pickup queue. So they have a lot of new features. The program we looked at today is Raptor that we already are using for our emergency management and for our work management. So we have to scan in or get your driver's license when you come in. That's the Raptor system that we're using. So we already have that up and operating. We know that it integrates well with Infinite Campus to the slide updates. So we looked at that option. We went and visited. Res has an option that they've sort of built in-house. So we went and looked at that. We're going, I think it's Monday. We're going to see New Vision, which does Driveline. We're going to Frontier. Frontier uses Driveline. So we're going to visit a lot of different choices, but it seems like this is an opportunity that if we're going to have to totally revamp our system, let's move forward and make sure the advantages to this, hopefully for efficiency, also that we'll have a much better record. Right now, when you call in someone that your kiddo didn't make it home, we know that they left at 3:25. With this system, we'll be able to say, Ryan picked them up at 3:30 in the car, or we release them to walk with our older sibling, and we're getting big enough now that that's really important to do those things. So that, like I said, isn't really related to the cafeteria, but it definitely, the impetus was provided by using our spot. So we're looking at a lot of different options there. Epic updates, we've been continuing to move forward. I think more and more teachers are wearing their voice amplification, and I really appreciate that. Every classroom I'm in, I think it just makes it so much easier no matter where you're at in the classroom to feel like you're at a conversational level instead of either not being able to hear the teacher well or feel like they're shouting. We have been integrating it with all of our standard response protocol drills. We have them say we get secure. So we're running all of those through Epic, and so far that's all working well. And then we've also had to use it a few times when we've had to do alternate dismissals at quite a few other events. So far it was doing more than usual. So that's given us a chance to practice there. It's like anything now that we've lived with it a while, we're starting to see some places. Today we talked about the weight room that don't have the two-way system in them. That was built as a speaker system. One of the days we did an alternate dismissal. The cafeteria is only a one-way system versus a classroom is a two-way system. So as we live with it and actually try out different things, we're finding things that we want. They're back in town. They've been great to support. They're back in town again. It's Tuesday. They work with us in some of our outstanding orders. So I feel like that's been going really well already, and still lots of room to grow there. Homecoming, Tracy didn't even mention homecoming. I'm not sure where I'm either. That feels like it was years ago, but that was since our last meeting. It was awesome. That was another time that we just had so many kids, everything. All of the events were really well attended. I think the kids had a great time at all of them. I felt like high school did their high school-ish field day on Friday. I felt like we had even better attendance and participation with that. Everywhere I went, kids were active. We were having a really good time. I feel like at first, you guys certainly know this part of the game, I feel like sometimes high school kids have to act like they're hesitant and don't want to do things or like that. And 2 years in a row now, I felt like we should have better participation. Kids were having a great time. So all of the teachers worked really hard to make sure there are things for them to do and chaperoning them. So those were all great. We had a really good time at the dance. We had over 500 kids, right?
Well, it's the fire marshal watching. We were right at the capacity at UNC, so 550-ish.
Yeah, so there were tons of kids, really well attended and had a lot of fun. So I thought all of the homecoming events were awesome. Ryan was part of the homecoming reception. That was really well attended. We had a great time. I thought it was really cool. Is it 65? Is that who was here? That was having the reunion?
Yes.
Right?
It was 65.
That was super cool. I think there were like 15-ish, 20-ish of them that were all here in the shirts, and they were at the game. And it's fun for me to get to see the people who've never been to this building, who went to the lab school, who just like cannot even have imagined that the school is what it is. Like, they really, when we first walk out to the field and sort of that first shot of the turf and the video board and all the things that we're starting to take just for granted, like, we can tell for them it's just, and I heard several of them say, like, I just could never have imagined that this is what our school would turn into. So that was really fun.
The band is bigger than most of the graduating
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So it was really cool. And I love that we have, like I said, back to class of 65, that it showed up. We had a lot of distinguished alums that came. So start to finish, homecoming week was awesome. I got to go to play this weekend. It was really fun. It was super chaotic. I don't know how they come up with all of it. It was a play if you didn't get a chance to. It was a play within a play. And so
It was crazy.
yeah, so they were on it to keep up with all the lines, and the set was falling apart, and they were changing actors, and it was crazy, but they did a great job. They had a really good time. So that was a lot of fun. Conferences is also something I think perhaps maybe you take for granted if you've never been to another school, but if you sit watching Liz or Rob, Joe running the doors on Monday, like constant, just floods of people from the start of the day to the end of the day. People started coming in. I think we had our first conference at 7:30. I think we had our last about 7:30 at night. everything in between was full of parents. And I've been lots of places that we got a 30 or 40% turnout at conferences. We were happy. And we really do try so hard for that 100%. And it's neat to get to do it all in one day, just to get to see what sort of volume of how many people are here. So I think that's another great day. Most of the feedback, it is a really long day, and it's hard to try to have that many conferences, but most of the feedback I get from staff was that they still prefer doing it that way, over trying to spread it out over 2 weeks and have to come early every morning and stay late every day and teach in the middle. So I think that that change has been pretty well received, and we usually get pretty good feedback from parents that have multiple kids at multiple levels, that it's a lot easier for them to schedule and make that work than it is when that was 3 years ago. So I appreciate very much how many of our parents come. I appreciate very much, again, if you've never been anywhere else, that our conferences are student led, and we're an active role in our kids playing those conferences. I think it's a great opportunity for them to take ownership for the learning, to power of their learning, and show it off to their parents. I think, again, if you've never been to another school, I've never seen that happen in another school. They're always very much the teachable, and whether here's what the kids good at, and what they're not, and so I love that our kids take ownership for that. I just wanted to throw out another thank you. We completed our Well Trust Grant. It's hard to believe it's been a year, but Kyle and Katie and I sat down and submitted our year report and all 5 outcomes, I think. So we had 5 outcomes, and we met all of our outcomes and far exceeded several of them. One of the first was just pure numbers. We set a goal of every kid having an opportunity to be in there. And not only did that happen, we already were over capacity. So after everyone got a chance, then they were able to open up requests for kids who wanted to take it again as an elective option. And we already the first year have more kids willing to take those advanced classes and fit in. So I just wanted to remind you that, again, that's another thing that feels like a lifetime ago, but really it was only a year. And so we completed the first year of the Smart Lab and sent huge thank yous, and we're really proud of our accomplishments to Well Trust. And also just a reminder that was the largest single school project that they have ever granted. And so we're really hopeful that since it went so well and we were able to accomplish the outcomes that they set out for us, that maybe they'll be open to doing it again in the future. So we appreciate their support, and I appreciate very much our Kyle and Katie. We have a new Stacey retired, so there's a new facilitator from Smart Lab. She's awesome. Kim Keel. We were able to coax away from another Smart Lab. So she's been a great addition. Kids this year, we've got the CNC up and going, which they weren't able to use last year. And I think the final piece, right, is laser engraving. So we're blazing into that too, sort of, and hopefully, like I said, she's super dedicated, so she'll figure it out. But those are 2 very cool machines that are not typically part of the Smart Lab package, so they're not available in the District 6 Smart Labs. Those are extra things we were able to do because of that Well Trust Grant. So excited to celebrate how hard everybody worked to make that happen, and every time I'm in there, because they're doing something cool and they're happy to do something cool. And I think that at middle schools, like, that's the thing, right? If we can get them to think that they want to do it and be excited about it, that's huge progress. So great job, everybody helped with that. And then I have middle school extracurricular update from Mr. Aragon. So as several of you know, because you got kiddos, band concert is happening. Mr. Scott or Mr. Pace-Your-Cole is going to try to help if there's any way we can ever have band concerts that are not important things, because I feel like every time they are. So if we just don't have a lot of wiggle room with the auditorium, they're trying to work around set building, so there's just too many ways of working. But we are going to try to see if we can get at least 1 or 2 a year that aren't 4 nights. Cross country, huge shout out to Mr. Aragon. We hosted the league meet last week, and any of you were here, there were like not a people. It was super busy, and if you've ever been to, I think a lot of things are like that here. You don't understand how awesome they are until you go somewhere else. But if you've ever been to a meet that isn't really well organized and run, like, it's chaos. And ours is like a roller machine, so there's lots of help, but a lot of that is from Mike and the job organizing it. The girls finished third there, the boys finished fourth. Volleyball is playing tonight at Platte Valley. If win, not to jinx, they win. They're going to the Final Four this weekend. That'll be at Roosevelt Middle School. And the 8th grade team finished 9-0. They crushed it. They're the #1 seed in the league tourney. So.
Seventh grade unfortunately lost.
Oh,
So
come
that
on.
is bad news. 8th grade did win, so 8th grade will continue Saturday. 7th grade had a solid year though, like
Yeah.
lots of growth, lots of good fight, so. Sorry.
So volleyball, well, I think that 8th grade team, they're good.
Yeah,
I think
they are.
they've got
They're
a
fun
good
to
shot
watch,
at
too.
taking it all.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Mr. Aragon wanted to shout out that volleyball team seemed to be the most academically accomplished in the fall. He had not a single kiddo that had eligibility issues. So we call them student athletes for a reason. They're students first. So we're really proud of volleyball for crushing it, not only in their own academically, they did really well too. Football is also doing great. 7th grade team finished 6-0. 8th grade team finished 5-0-1. So we've got championship game. I don't remember that normally happening. We don't do that.
It's
very
new,
often.
it's new.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't remember. So they're hosting a championship game here on Saturday. So we got 7th grade at 4 and 8th grade at 5. And we also have band doing like the final dress rehearsal. So if you want to see things, just hang out on the field. It's going on all day.
2:30.
Yeah, I was gonna say band will be there, football will be there. So if you're around, come watch things happening on the field. It'll be fun to watch. And that's all.
Busy.
That's right.
That's it. No big deal.
I don't know how they keep it all straight. They're really good at it. Yeah.
I'm curious from student perspective, the EPIC communication and hearing speakers from the teachers wearing their.
I don't have a lot of teachers wearing their speakers.
To be, this is just my perspective. I think most teachers do better without it because it's like most classrooms are small enough to where you can hear the teacher anyways, no matter where you sit. And most of those teachers, like, they've been teaching for so long that they just know what volume to use. So I personally think that it's better without this.
Yeah, because I don't have a lot of teachers using the microphone. But I know my mom does in elementary.
I was gonna say, I
So-
feel like that's more of an elementary, high school difference.
Yeah, because I know elementary uses a lot. I know high school doesn't. So, yeah.
And I think when you think about elementary in terms of, again, all of the magic that's happening with a million kids in all different places doing things, I think it's way more important than if you're mostly having a classroom lecture situation where I think those are probably pretty different.
It takes a little bit to get used to too, because you kind of change your volume and you can hear yourself, you're too loud. Through the mic, like, so through the speaker system. Yeah, there is.
So it's not just the high school students listen better.
I wish.
Hear better.
Maybe
their
that.
Hearing is improved. Great. Business been interrupted.
Okay, your financials are in the packet. We're presenting August 31st tonight. We are in a net deficit position, $252,175, and that's mostly because we paid our property insurance in August in full, and it came out to about $278,000 net August. Under the assets, you're gonna see under Points West Community Bank, we have a negative balance there. That is the checking account that we use to pay our joint use expenses. And the reason it's negative is because I cut the check to pay for the carpet in the auditorium the very last day of August, and we didn't have funding, so I held the check, and so the money didn't get in there until September, so it'll correct itself in September, so no big deal on that. Revenue page at the bottom, you'll see that deficit split, how it is for mill levy and general fund items. We also didn't get our capital construction again in August, but it came in September 2nd, so just missed the financials this month. So even though we're still deficit, I'm happy with where we're at because I think we paid that insurance. That's a big chunk of change earlier in the year. So On the expenditures, salary and benefits are going well. Under the program support, that's where we post our special ed costs, so that's a little high. Course curriculum and textbooks are high because we're just getting school started and we have to pay for those programs up front. I mentioned the property insurance, that's a big expense under the operating expenses. But other than that, expenditures are running pretty well. The capital fund, I have a mistake on the fund balance. I show a fund balance of 7,124, it should be 7,125. Those are our fund balances at the beginning of the fiscal year, so I apologize for that. We have a net deficit in that fund as well, 380,738,000. Again, you'll see those splits at the bottom of the profit and loss statement. The kitchen equipment, we still are funding that, $125,000. The building corporation did give us the other $25,000, but I didn't deposit that till September, so we'll see that in September as well. Not a lot that was paid out of the capital fund this month, so that's pretty much looks like that. Couple extra things. Our chart accounts project should wrap up on Monday. That's our migration date. It should get, they've been testing to make sure everything will roll, and we gave it another couple of weeks, and they're pretty confident that they've got it pretty well wrapped up. So I was kind of dragging my feet on getting September financials done because I wanted to have everything roll over and then present with those new chart account numbers and see where all that goes, just making sure it's right. So we got our District 6 reconciliation for last fiscal year. Good news with that. We're actually going to get about $106,000 back from the district. So something happened between April and June 30th with the district. The special ed costs were running about $1,580 a student, which I've been telling you. They came in at $1,523 a student, so that was good news. The special ed reimbursement, which is like a federal grant, they were projecting that about $411 a student. It came back at $467, so we got some additional revenue there. And then the MLO collections of the taxes, she was estimating at about $1,073, and it came in at $1,107, so that also was up. So, moral of the story is we're going to get $106,000 back of the $180 that we prepaid. And then we'll be able to take that big $176,000 budget item off of our budget when we do the revision in January. So we are in a much better position than I thought we were going to get. I'm not sure what happened at the district. The only thing I can think of is that when they were looking at their special ed costs, maybe towards the end of the year, they went back and they looked to see what was posted in those accounts. And maybe they had some expenses in there that they didn't feel really could classify as special ed, so they pulled them out of there, reclassified them somehow. I can't believe that Megan was that far off, but something good happened for us in those students. And for them too, I imagine. The audit, I wrapped up that pretty much today. I think they might have 1 or 2 questions left, but they should have the audit done next week, and they will present that at the next meeting. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Any questions? All right, consent agenda. I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
This one, you have to register individually, I believe, right?
Go the other way. Ryan?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Right. Motion is approved. Just enough votes. Thank you everyone for showing up. Unanimous but slim. That's a rare occasion. Okay, let's see. We have first reading of updated graduation requirements. Think you wanted to speak on that a little bit before we get
Yeah.
into that?
I'll just give you kind of why things are a little different. I would say if you flip to the second page, that top part is career and technical ed. This was really the reason I started looking at this document this month. In our PLC, we've talked about trying to align what we're teaching for career and tech ed, and particularly with the new law that came in for personal finance requirements. In doing that, we found that the life management curriculum from the state hits most of those standards already anyway. And our new family and consumer science teacher, Ms. Neef, was teaching life management and working with Rachel Weigel on that alignment and making sure they were following state standards and realizing we were doing a lot of duplicating with what was in college and career prep. With the exception of life management already had a whole bunch of personal finance stuff in it, and college and career prep didn't yet. So as we've worked with that group, what we would like to propose is that kids could take either life management or a redesigned college and career prep that has a lot of those same things from life management in it. They'd be very parallel courses, and we didn't want kids taking both because there's so much overlap. But we felt like the life management side has a few pieces in it that college and career prep wouldn't, and they would have a little bit more of a business look to it with some of the other pieces with computer applications and things like that. But we feel like both of those would meet both ICAP and personal finance requirements along with what we're doing in advising. So that's the proposal. In the process of doing that, we also found some places where the board policy didn't line up exactly with the language that we have in the current course catalog. So the other changes in here are purely just getting that language the same with what we have with the catalog and what's in the board policy. So you can see in English, for some reason at one point we only had freshman English and not sophomore listed, and then junior, senior we kind of mixed around anyway, so I fixed that. We stopped offering algebra A and B. We felt like too many kids were falling too far behind in that, and we need to do a better job of remediating algebra 1. But this year, I think, is the first year we stopped offering it, so I didn't want it in the catalog as a possibility. But it didn't change the number of credits required for either of those subjects. And then in the health and wellness one, we just didn't have wellness included with the PE, so something like first aid class isn't a PE class, it's more of a wellness class, but it still fits in that category. So the one thing that several years ago, I didn't see when we took out the board policy specifically related to computer applications. It's not that we're not teaching kids how to use the computer, but I think when that policy first came in, we had one computer lab and we wanted to make sure kids were rotating through there and getting some experience. Now we're one-to-one, we're teaching spreadsheets every time we do budgeting stuff, we're teaching word processing in almost every class. Kids are familiar with Google Slides, and we don't feel like we need a standalone class for those skills, but we still want to make sure they're included in there. And then particularly computer applications and business classes want to make sure we're still getting Microsoft Office suite, but I didn't feel like that was something that needed to be every kid all the time, that we want to have some exposure to it, but we're looking at some possibilities in elective classes of getting certified as Microsoft Office. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I know this is first reading. I don't know what questions you have, and we'll go to policy committee next and then bring it back to the board. So
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that since we had conferences this month, policy committee didn't meet, so this is going to report from the policy committee, but it will go to the policy committee before you guys get it next one for second reading. We'll be, I think it's November 4th. Whatever our birthday is in November, we've got the policy committee. So it will go to them, and we'll certainly incorporate any changes that they have, but it has not been to them yet, which is a step in our policy process policy.
So if they make major changes, do we have to go back and do a first reading?
Not unless we feel like it some way drastically changed things, but this was developed by the high school leadership team. So the people on the policy committee are certainly primarily referring to their suggestions. So I can't imagine anything drastically changed, but that is a step in the process. So I just wanted you to know that hasn't happened, Yeah.
So I know, having asked a few questions around that computer applications when I first joined the board, and some of that had come also from some apprehension about getting students into and onto the computers and doing some things back then where that was kind of a necessary thing. I think we're at that point again. I'd like to challenge the board, if it's not happening in the classrooms yet. AI is a real thing. And I've got a daughter who's telling me she's afraid to go use AI because she doesn't want to be cheating. And it's the best tutor we've got for these kids right now. I'm gonna go sit the next several days in college, and in colleges talking through their programs, and it's like, that's the #1 topic, right? It's like, we've got to do something. So, please do something, because I don't want to put it in the code of this stuff, right?
I'm running into a problem with age, because I've looked into it.
High
and-
school, yes.
Yeah, but it's still 18, so I can't have kids like get a ChatGPT account, like even under 18, they're not supposed to. So that's kind of where I've run into some things. But
And I know Katie's teaching a class to teachers about using AI in the classroom. Not all of my teachers love it, but I think the comparison to calculators is good because it took the math teaching world 20 years to figure out kind of some settled best practices around how we figure out calculators and math, and can kids still do math? Can we still do math? Yeah. But it took us a while to figure out how that works and how it's not cheating. It is a tool. I think we're trying to wrestle with those things, especially at the high school level. I know you can put your math problem into ChatGPT or other AI, and it'll show you all the steps. So as a tutoring tool, it's a great tool. And then the question is, are you trying to learn it or are you trying to copy it, right? So helping kids understand the use of a tool versus shortcuts that aren't helping them learn. I know a lot of teachers are using it also in how they develop lessons and things. So there's a lot of good uses, and we're all at different comfort level points, but it's a good thing to keep bringing up, absolutely.
look, today I was given book trailers, and they quickly identified they were AI.
Good.
They knew. So I know they're getting exposed. I can mostly like expose them and talk to them about it and good things, bad things, pitfalls, but I can't really have them creating with it.
Well, we've got to figure that out
Yeah.
because the entry-level jobs, I mean, part of our goal is have kids ready for, going into the workforce or into college. Okay, the entry-level jobs are what are falling off first, and they're going to kids who have experience with AI.
Perhaps there might be an option for education specifically. I know certain companies have internal AI options, so it's not strictly ChatGPT or OpenAI. So I don't know about as far as
Khan Academy has got a specific AI, for education.
Right. Colleges are signing up tons of AI contracts. In my class this year we didn't do it, but last year we did an activity using AI. I think it's something to get kids practicing and using when it's like open and honest about it, right? Like,
Exactly.
hey, let's get on this and practice with it, see what we can do with it. And give it a funny prompt, right? Make it into a rap song or make it sound like a Western or...
Well, even your applications, you're getting Copilot built right into all of those Microsoft applications. So even the way you use those applications is so far different today than it was 6 months ago that, it really is a significant change.
Well, it's a good point, because when we wrote this policy, Google Docs wasn't exactly worth using because it had nothing, it couldn't compare to Microsoft Word. Well, now they're pretty much the same. And now we're talking about AI being integrated into both of those. And technology moves fast, faster than policies.
Yes. So, anyways, as I said, I don't want to write it into any of our the things here that the board has to do, but we've got to get these kids exposure.
Further discussion? From a formatting sense, we put a header on each of them, like on sides of that, as far as
Yeah, okay.
Very different.
Well, I mean, just to be clear, my wife's an English teacher and I'm a social studies teacher, so the rest of them are less important.
Uh-huh.
There we go. It's on the record.
Oh, shoot.
Videotape it.
Please don't tell the other departments.
Oh, but
Call me Mr. Schwartz now.
You said that live, 3 people. He was my student, he didn't say much.
All right, so do we need to read this out loud right now? Okay, that's good, because I wouldn't even know how to read it. Yeah, parentheses, strike mark. Are we ever gonna have to read that out loud or? Okay, that's excellent.
That's excellent.
Give me some pros on
Last
it.
night, got critiqued by my English teacher, so it's just time to be.
Very nice. All right, Ames concurrent enrollment update.
And I think Jeff already did that in his update. I just really wanted you to have an opportunity to see the numbers have changed quite a bit when you look through the year. We have way more kids enrolled, attempting more credits, and way more programs. And I think it's great that our community feels like that's an avenue for them, and it's important. I also really appreciate, I feel like we have teachers every year working really hard on getting rooms just to be able to offer them house, which I think is a huge advantage for the kids. So I just wanted you to know that I didn't know if you had any frame of reference for when we talked about this kind of things, how many kids we're actually talking about. It's a lot of kids, a lot of credits, and a lot
it
of
used to
time.
be like 15, and now we have
Well,
200.
And I can tell you because for the last 8 years, I've sat on the advisory boards for a number of the programs at Ames. There's times where half of our advisory meeting is literally about the high school student programs and how do we support it and how do we get teachers credentialed and how do we, integrate better. And so that is a real core of what's going on at Ames right now is how do we support the high school programs.
And we added Spanish this year as concurrent enrollment. One of our social studies teachers, Ms. Franklin, just got approved to add U.S. and world history for next year. So depending on how schedules work out. The other thing is our counselors have worked to create a new pathway that is an associate's pathway. So kids can say, if they say early enough, that that's what they want, and they finish with an associate's as well as their diploma. So
Excellent,
So I just
excellent.
wanted to draw to your attention that that is definitely a big part of our school program studies.
Great opportunities for academically, college and college. Great.
And use the facilities at Ames too. So, like the rec center and that type of stuff, which is awesome.
I hear Ames has one of the best gyms in town. I'll have to take a class.
It's all cheaper than gym membership.
Do you have to go to class?
Yes, you do.
also on record.
Also on
That's right.
Well,
Online.
okay, and we're also having problems with, them taking out loans and getting scholarships and things, cashing those out and then never showing up to classes, right? And so, yes, there is a little bit of crackdown that's starting to take place at Ames on some of those programs.
College as well.
That sounds like a really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, October count update.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an update. This is how we get funded. Those of you that are new that aren't aware, all of our revenue sources, all those amounts that Sue was mentioning, those are all per student, right? So we get funded on the number of students that we have. That happens on October 1st. We are in good shape. We are above where we projected. So that is always great news that we're happy about. So we don't have totally officials yet, because that's a pretty in-depth process that they go through to verify attendance for every single kid on that day, and to compare at the state level to make sure that they didn't get claimed anywhere else. So we don't have the final number yet, but based on our preliminary numbers, we're in really good shape.
Like 1802, I think is what Charlene And we
We might
budgeted
have
like
17.
1784. And that's mostly high school.
Mostly high school.
We didn't stuff the elementary classrooms, which
No.
we didn't want to do that.
Elementary is spot on, middle school's either spot on or down, I don't remember. But
It's high school.
It's definitely high school, but we're up. And again, we've been talking through how to handle that, but that mostly comes from the fact that kids are staying, which is a great problem to have. We used to always count on a certain percentage that we're gonna decide that they didn't want to do all of the secret projects, they didn't want to do all the extra credits that are required, and saw that they could go to another school in the district and be mostly done. And so we always lost a certain percentage against that, and that just isn't happening at the same level. So that's a really great problem to have, but we keep each year adjusting a little bit more to push over those with Joe on how many kids we're going to draw, and we're going to draw them. So, because in theory, back in the day, I believe at one point our goal was to get 600, and we're certainly above that right now.
Right, it's 647.
And did Charlene, because she's under 110, did she train anybody else how to do this, or?
We've been, every time something happens and we're like, Charlene does that, we've been trying to find other people to do it. So Billy Joe does all of the middle school numbers, so she's done that for
No.
a while.
But I have reminded Charlene that she, for Jennifer's request, is everybody on campus should be writing down some processes, so that when people leave, you're not out there with your hind over it.
She worked with Val this year to do elementary schedules, because that's something she's one of the first meetings done. So we're trying to find everybody, but Charlene has been doing the most of the county work. So she's got a lot of
And she
experience.
also admitted that she does probably far more than she needs to do. And then District 6 always has an annual meeting, and she goes to that for things that they need. So
I ever met him where it was very
very thorough.
good. She's very, very knowledgeable about everything stuff.
Yeah.
So we're in good shape there. That'll have positive budget implications in between that and our reconciliation, we should be in great shape in January. Far better than although we don't know, obviously, if you've been following state stuff, they haven't said that they're $1 billion deficit yet, but getting pretty close. Like they, so.
And they're definitely, yeah, they're definitely taking a plan next year. They did what they needed to do this year. And, they're saying that inflation's coming in about 2.1%, and so that would be max that we'll get. I don't know, we might get it.
The one good piece we heard from them was that, I think they said it was based on federal tax status. The changes, that was one place that education benefited, was the, the program. So they initially, it's on the ballot for November, and they were thinking that if that didn't get funded, they couldn't really get through the year. And this is based on the tax advantages that they got, they do have a particular program this year. So they're hoping stuff for that to pass in November to get permanently funded. But they do have the money every year. If you remember, education student, that was one of the places we were all this stuff, school benefits and Medicaid, two places that are just really all of the students, at the state level budgets last year. So we're optimistic, but again, it was January last time when things got moving. So, but right now, those are both really good news for us.
Okay. Justin did not send me a report to read, so I guess it's up to me today. New carpet looks great in the auditorium.
Oh, yeah.
It looks good. This is starting to look like we care about it. All those upgrades, it looks really good. As always, I appreciate everybody that works to make all of this happen. There's some really great things happening. It's great great community to be a part of. Just thank you to everyone who makes it happen. I think that's about all I have. Is there communication from the board? Actually, no. Let's start with our student reps.
Students, would you like to go first?
Sure. I think everything's going good so far. I really think that you should not initiate because the hallways already take so long to get through. And I know I had like 4 people come up to me today and ask me why it was in the middle of the hallway. So I think that there are better spots than this.
I agree. We've got to find a place that we can Ethernet cable to because it's got to be connected and directly connected in that way. But I agree. That's what they do.
Just like, I think it's just a common thing that everyone, it'd be more convenient spots. But I know it's hard to find. But other than that, everything's good.
Yeah, I agree. Everything's super fantastic. Homecoming was a blast. It was so much fun, like setting up the decorations for that, and Spirit Weeks is a lot of fun participating in that. I'm on the City of Greeley Youth Commission, and they're hosting a clothing drive. And I've already got this passed by Mr. Casey, so we're going to have a box in the office of the main building in the middle school, and it's going to have like wrapping paper on it, and it's going to say Youth Commission Clothing Drive. So they're hosting a clothing drive from November 7th to December 8th for just like winter clothes, like jackets, hats, gloves, scarves, pants, and long sleeve shirts. And I was just going to tell you guys this, just like how you keep you updated in the loop, and just to advertise it, I guess, too. So if you guys have any gently used clothes that you would like to donate, we would very greatly appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks for checking that out. Major kudos to Sue, because she met with our student reps last week and did an excellent job with Accounting 101. It was very good and needed. We did meet Zach last night, and that was very informative. That is the Student Accountability Committee. And Jessica, who was on the board, Anderson, is the university rep that then goes to the district accountability committee. Every school sends one. So that's great to hear what's going on in other schools and things like that. We really tore apart the UIP and, not the UIP, the CNAS results. We really talked about them. Probably get some feedback from Kyle on that. I went to the play. It was very funny. We just laughed, but it was crazy. And the last thing I'd like to do is remind you all that you got invited to a reception tomorrow, Friday night at 5:30 in the cafeteria for Greg Pearson, and they will make the formal announcement of naming the building during halftime. So if you come, that would be great. And that's all I have.
To give this to Justin, this is the Robert Rules of Order early when he was having help, but it's there. It's a cheat sheet. This is beautiful. I'll give it to Justin. I forgot Justin was nothing huge. You know, I was thinking this last week. What is there anything I really want to say? And, you know, I think what I want to say is that I get from 3 little girls making compliments about different teachers. I just want to highlight one. My middle child is a musician, total musician, and she loves Mr. G. I want to tell you that there are rave reviews of that man. I've seen him interact with them. I see everything he does with them. Well, I don't really know him, but I hear my child and other child, the children say the same things about what a great guy is, how much they're learning, and what awesome person is. I just think that needs to be stated, and I think it's something very positive.
I'll just share, I came and did the shadows with the elementary school as well as middle school. Very eye-opening as far as just the day-to-day interactions. I wasn't aware of all the things. I had an opportunity to visit the lab down in the other building, and super cool. I can see the excitement, and also a reminder that we've come a long way since I was in high school 20-some years ago, as far as the tech and everything that's there. So I appreciate that opportunity. Really enjoyed being on campus. Also, just wanted to shout out the Junior Bulldogs. I've heard great things there. I was actually in the picture with the flag football team throughout our season on Saturday with the victory. And many of the kids on there were looking forward to the wrestling program coming back and being a part of that. So I was very pleased to hear that they had a coach, and I think that's a great opportunity for kids. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to second with Mr. G, because he is so central to our family. There's probably not a day that goes by that he's not being talked about in the house, literally. And I know it's right now in the middle of marching band season and everything else. As a matter of fact, I just got a text from my wife, jazz band starting down there right now. But he definitely brings a lot to the school, but he brings a lot to the families. And he has done such a great job of building teams where the students are supporting each other. And I think that's the things that I love probably most about that program is you've got student leaders supporting the other students and just working as teams in ways that I don't see in a lot of other places. So love that. Also saw the play. That was funny. And the good news is the set, while it was falling apart there, and the curtains were falling apart in the, we actually have a quote for the curtains. It's been accepted.
Yes,
Hopefully within a couple of weeks we will get those finally replaced. It is about a $26,000 investment, but the fire marshal says we have to do that. So
He'll be happy to know it's been replaced.
he will, and it's actually by the same company that did them originally 22 years ago, right? A long time ago. So, yep, the carpet got complete, so that's another great one in there, and we're exploring some options for the sound deadening at the back of the theater to maybe freshen that up a little bit. So.
It did look like spaghetti up there.
Yeah. I guess I get two other weird ones if we've got any programs. I had one of our customers reach out, and he's got a few hundred Raspberry Pis that he's going to donate to us. So if we got programs that need Raspberry Pis, I don't have them in hand yet, but that could be a great resource. Yeah. And I still have got a whole bunch of goldfish down in one of my bays that hosting for District 6's aquaponics program that we don't need all them down there. So if we have any teachers who want some goldfish, we got some really nice fancy looking.
How big are they? Maybe Toothless will want to eat them.
They're about yay big now. They're pretty good, you know, but I would definitely not mind getting them out of my R&D bay. So there's about 50 of them right now down there. So.
The microphones were really helpful at the play. That you think, I don't know how that was funded or when that, but that was really helpful. I thought at the end during hearing loss, but that really was much better to hear the play with microphones. And so Tech, I'm sure, was a lot of that. They did a good job. I had just a few support things. Thank you to USPTO for providing lunch for the teachers. That was great on Monday. It was really good. Texas Roadhouse lunch, it was awesome. Parents, we had a book fair, and we had lots of parents coming through to study all day long in middle school book fair, so that was great. And then I'm just in support of administration for just activities. I don't think about the fact that we get so much support until I hear about a school that doesn't. So you were saying, like, we have a school that would like to host Battle of the Books for districts, and their principal is not on board. And so I'm like, man, our principal would just be like, yes, let's do it. And all of our administration supports us doing other activities and like hosting the football game on the weekend. And so I appreciate all that support. We get support from everybody, and it goes a long way. So, you're up.
I don't really have a whole lot this week. I know Carol mentioned the reception for Greg on Friday at the game. I'd love to see any and all of you guys there that would like to attend. It's just at 5:30 before the game. There'll be some stuff in the cafeteria just to honor him and reflect a little bit, and then the presentation at halftime. So huge honor for him, and I think a big step for our school, just remembering kind of our roots at the same time while we see all the amazing things that are going on. It's just impressive to see, but always remembering that we had to come from somewhere, and I think having those moments of reflection where we look back and see where we came from, it's always good to take advantage of it. So, look forward to Friday's game and more stories.
And back in the day, the press box was a Pepsi shit.
Totally was. Yeah. For a press box.
Progress is good, right?
Yeah.
Most of
It's good
That's
progress,
what
right?
it is. It's good progress, it's good.
Anything from joint news?
I think I covered it.
Okay, capital plan? Foundation?
Great stuff, and we just keep working that.
Okay, our next regular meeting will be November 12th, 2025, 6 o'clock.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I.
Meeting adjourned.
What's up, dude?